and our activity reports, followed by the final item, which will be our resolution and our actions. Before we get into introductions, I would like to just remind and notify some of the newer people who have joined us today, our guests from the various municipalities, of one or two rules that we put in place for our virtual.
Colleagues, am I the only one who lost the chairperson?
No, even on this side.
No,
Chair, I'll follow it up quickly.
Rita, it's luckily on his side.
Hello, I'm back. It is on my side. We were about to get into rules of committee meetings, and I think the first rule is make sure that your internet connection is stable. So I have resolved that now. Don't worry. So we are back on track. Just a couple of things that are important to remember as well. Please ensure that when you are not speaking, that your microphone and video are off. It helps us in terms of bandwidth and any other distractions during the meeting. We do ask that when you are speaking, if possible, to please put your video on. It helps with the interactive nature of the meeting, and it's nice for us to be able to see who we have on the other side. All right, I'm just going to start then by requesting our members of the Western Cape Provincial Parliament to introduce themselves. After that, we will then move on to introductions for the other guests and officials who are present.
Good morning, honorable members, and good morning to the officials and the mayors from the two municipalities. My name is Noko Masipa. I am I'm a member on this portfolio committee. Thank you, Chair.
Good morning, Chairperson. I am Jack Wessels. I am also a member of this committee. Thanks.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, colleagues. What's happening?
Sorry, I think not sure who Hendrik Barnard is, but if we can just make sure that mic is turned off. It's a little bit loud there in the background. Sorry, can we just go back to the member that was introducing himself?
Morning, Chair. Good morning, colleagues. My name is Noel Constable, and I am a member of this committee. Thank you.
Morning, Chair. I'm Beauty Stoffels, and I'm a member of this committee. Thank you, Chair.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, everybody. Grant Marie, I'm a member of this committee.
Good morning, Chairperson. Peter Johnson, member of the committee.
Thank you very much, colleagues. I think those are all of the members who are present. We do have lots of people here today, so I am going to just briefly go through some of those and do some of the welcomes and introductions. From Provincial Treasury today, we have Mr. Kenyon, the Chief Director of Local Government Public Finance, Ms. Nietlin, Director of Local Government Revenue and Expenditure. For the Department of Local Government, we have Mr. Brown. And from the municipalities, we have representatives from Kanaland, Beaufort West, Matsikama, Cederberg, and Theawaterskloof. And I would just like to ask if any of the mayors of those municipalities are present, if they would like to just briefly introduce themselves. It can be a bit chaotic with the introductions, so I'd ask just put your microphone on and introduce yourself. If somebody else is speaking at the same time, just give way, let them speak, and you can go next. If there are any mayors present, if you can just introduce yourselves, please.
Good morning, Chair. My name is Lincoln de Bruin. I'm the Executive Mayor of TWK Municipality. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairperson in the House. I'm Monica Bottom. I'm the Executive Mayor of Matsikama Municipality.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kutsia, were there any other mayors who indicated that they would be attending? I just want to make sure that nobody is perhaps unable to access the meeting.
Chairperson, no. They were all were sent invitations and the link,
okay.
But no apologies. I see
no
a
problem.
hand
I
there.
see there's a hand from AC Makendlana.
Yes, good morning, Chair. Yes, my name is Amos Makendlana from Provincial Municipality, acting MM. The acting executive mayor will join us soon. She will join us.
Okay. No, that's marvelous. Thank you very much for that. Okay, if we can just then briefly continue. And then from the Western Cape Provincial Parliament, we also have our legal advisor, Ms. Kule, who will be joining us today. So I am then, without further ado, going to hand over just quickly, Mr. Kutsia, there weren't any apologies, were there, that you're aware of?
Chairperson, no, we haven't received any apologies, and I do think that Minister Bartman might be on the platform as well.
Oh, is she? My sincere apologies, Minister Bartman, if I haven't acknowledged you. I just want to see, are you present? Would you like to introduce yourself? I should have given you the opportunity first and foremost.
No problem, Chairperson. Happy to be here as always. And we have our team members from our MFMA unit within the Provincial Treasury also online. I see Stephen is here with us. I see Case with us here. Kim Case with us here. So we have our MFMA team ready to brief the committee. Thank you.
Thank you. That's wonderful. All right. Well, I am then going to hand over to yourself and Provincial Treasury to kick us off with the presentations and the feedback in terms of debt with regards to those 5 municipalities. So over to you, Minister, and you can then lead us into those presentations.
Thank you so much. I think in the meantime, Stephen or the procedural officer, we can put up the presentation heading in the meantime. Just good morning to the chair, to the members and the representatives from the respective municipalities. I hope everyone is well on this cold day. Chair, I want to start off by speaking about a little bit about our responsibilities, our mandate, and also where this program came from. So municipalities are responsible for the debt of the bulk electricity. It is part of their mandate, and it's also part of good governance to ensure essentially that your electricity is paid. However, sometimes municipalities fall into arrears, and as part of an incentive program from the National Treasury, there is a municipal debt relief program so that we can assist municipalities to get back on track. I'm going to hand over to our team just to take us through the status of the support that we provide from the Provincial Treasury side in relation to those payments by municipalities of outstanding Eskom debt. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Minister. Chair, I did see there was a hand from the Mayor of Kannaland. I don't know if you want to take that before I go into the presentation.
Yes, I didn't see that, but is that individual the Mayor of Kannaland wanting to make an interest?
Chair?
Yes.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Yes.
Chair, I am Werner Mashua, Chairperson of IMPACT on behalf of Mayor Jeffrey Donson. I'm sitting in for him.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And thanks for the notification. That will be minuted as well. Sorry, back to you, Mr. Kenyon.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair, and thank you for the introduction, Minister. Chair, I'm going to take you through the presentation, and we have circulated it in advance. I am aware, though, that municipal debt relief is, as you'll see from the slides, is quite a complicated topic. So please feel free to interrupt me if you want me to go into more detail on a particular area, or tell me to speed up if I'm getting too bogged down in the detail. The structure of the presentation is to give you a brief overview where we'll try and convey the kind of synopsis of the message, and then we'll go into more detail on each of the 4 participating municipalities, starting from Beaufort West, then Cederberg, Matsikama, and Kannaland. So we've got quite a dense slide on each of those. I'm going to talk in some detail to the Beaufort West one as an example, and then go relatively quickly through the others. And then we'll summarize our support to the municipalities from both the Provincial Treasury and the Department of Local Government. And I would note that Grant Brown is here from the Department of Local Government as well. And then we'll talk to the situation in Theewaterskloof, which also has debt to Eskom, but is not eligible to be part of the Municipal Debt Relief Program. And Kim Kenyetling will present that slide, and then we'll conclude. So this slide is really the summary, and I'm going to talk to it in a little bit of detail. As a result, we've had a number of media questions and parliamentary questions about debt relief, and the table on the left there really summarizes the situation. So you can see the logos of the 5 municipalities that have debts to Eskom at the bottom there. Obviously, if a municipality is in a situation where it has arrear debts to Eskom, something has gone wrong in their finances. So all of these municipalities have some degree of financial challenges, either at present or in the past, and our response and our support depends a lot on what those underlying problems are. But just looking at the debts to Eskom, the key date here is the 31st of March 2023. The National Minister of Finance announced the Eskom debt relief program in his February 2023 budget speech, and the circular governing that debt relief, Circular 124, MFMA Circular 124, was issued on the 31st of March, and that is the cutoff date. So debts prior to that are eligible for debt relief. So you can see in that first column there, the amounts for each of the 4 eligible municipalities, Matsikama, Cederberg, Kannaland, and Beaufort West, ranging between 44 million and 112 million that were eligible for debt relief at that point. The debt relief program works in summary that municipalities have to comply with a set of conditions. There are 41 conditions in total that they have to comply with on an ongoing basis. If they comply for 3 years, they will get that debt written off. They get 1/3 of the debt written off after each successive year as part of the program. So that second column there shows you the amount that they're eligible to have written off after the first year. And all 4 of those municipalities completed the first year of debt relief. Depending on, some of them began 1st of June of that, 1st of July, and some 1st of August. So by July or August of last year, these 4 municipalities had complied sufficiently that through the subsequent paperwork processes, these amounts totaling 93 million for the province were eligible to be written off. However, it would be great if that was the end of the story and we could tell you that all municipalities were doing well on the program and that the debt was on track to be written off. However, there are 2 municipalities where new debts to Eskom, new unpaid bills have arisen subsequent to the 31st of March 2023 deadline, and those are Kannaland and Theewaterskloof in the amounts you see there, 18 million and 54 million. As at the 30th of April, per the heading of the slide, So a total of 72 million rands worth of new debts that are not eligible for the debt relief program. And we'll talk to what we're doing in those municipalities. But as I said, these kind of debts only arise if a municipality has underlying problems. And in both of those cases, those underlying problems led the province to institute a Section 139 intervention due to an underlying financial crisis in the municipality. So at the end of the day, where we are at the moment is that the province, these 5 municipalities have a total arrear debt to Eskom at present, as at 30 April, of 258 million rands. That is down from the 279 million rands that was owed at the end of March 2023. It would obviously be a lot lower if it wasn't for those new arrear debts that have accumulated. And the graph on the right-hand side just outlines the same story, but with respect to each of the 4 debt relief municipalities, kind of visually there you can see in the blue the total arrear debts that they did owe, and in orange the amounts that have been written off, and the green shows what their remaining debt is. Okay, so also just to recap that the reasons that these arrear debts arise, this is, as I said, a variety of underlying problems in the municipality. Essentially, they're not able to generate sufficient revenue to cover their operational costs. That can come from a number of different underlying problems, including leadership culture and challenges there, the consumer culture and consumers not being willing to pay, and a range of municipal inefficiencies, particularly if indigency levels are set too high, if there's a bloated organizational cost, if the tariffs do not cover the full costs, if there are significant distribution losses, technical losses, if they don't appropriately limit free basic services, if there's a lack of maintenance, if they don't know the cost of their services. So I think it's just important to also point out that in almost all of these cases, what is happening when a municipality runs into arrear debt to Eskom is that customers are still paying for their electricity. Because electricity can be cut off easily, and because a lot of electricity is, especially in poorer areas, is sold on a prepaid electricity basis, it's relatively easy to collect money for electricity. But what is usually happening is that although consumers are paying for electricity, the municipality is either struggling to collect revenue from other areas, so struggling to collect water revenue, property rates, other service charges, and particularly in areas that Eskom supplies within the municipality. So particularly in an Eskom supplied town, the municipality might be struggling to collect revenue, even though customers there are paying Eskom for their services. And then the municipality is using the funds that they generate from the Eskom, from the supply of electricity in areas that the municipality serves, to essentially pay for the costs of those other services. It could also be that they have a bloated costs elsewhere in their system, that they're running just a very high cost model of delivery with a lot of surplus costs that aren't delivering value for their customers, and that those costs are eating up that electricity revenue, and that leaves them then making the choice not to pay Eskom in order to prioritize paying those other costs. So that's why you'll see when we discuss the conditions around the Eskom debt relief, that the National Treasury has set conditions that go beyond just the narrow focus on the electricity service, but that try to address those underlying issues. And it's why in the Treasury's response, we go beyond just looking at Eskom debt, but looking at the underlying causes and, where necessary, intervening with a full Section 139.5 intervention in a municipality. So this slide talks to the conditions, and there are 4 core elements to municipal debt relief. The debt relief is application-based, so it's important to emphasize that all of the participating municipalities signed up to this debt relief, They agreed to participate in the conditions. As I mentioned earlier, it's a 3-year cycle that they participate in, and 1/3 of the debt is written off after compliance for every successive year. It's in our experience so far been a pretty good way of embedding the behavior change in the municipalities. If you go then to, so that's on the first block on the top left. If you go to the second block on the top right, the core component, the most important condition, perhaps the most obvious one, is that municipalities must pay Eskom timeously. So all 4 municipalities in the first year of debt relief fully complied, and hence, we're on track to have that first third written off. Unfortunately, as you would have seen from that earlier slide, Kannaland is currently in a financial position where they haven't been able to pay Eskom, hence that recurrence of a fresh 18 million rands in debt. Then if you go to the bottom right-hand corner, this is a very brief summary of those 41 conditions that municipalities must comply with. And as I mentioned, the conditions go beyond a narrow focus on Eskom payments. They also require that water boards or the water trading entity must be paid fully on time. They also require that municipalities must complete a cost-reflective tariff tool so that they understand whether their tariffs are cost-reflective or not and can then take appropriate actions in their budgets. And all of these municipalities have complied with that. They must do a property rates reconciliation tool. So this is reconciling whether their billing matches what's in their general valuation roll, so that they're not losing out on revenue on property rates. The collection rate assessment tool, so they've quarterly reporting on their collection rates and progress with that, and also breaking down which areas in the municipality have which collection rates so that they can see where there are problematic areas. They also have to amend their credit control policies to adhere to best practice from the National Treasury guidance, to make sure that consumers have to pay their full account, and they can't partially pay and have credit control measures lifted without fully paying their accounts. And there are also requirements from the National Treasury around the restriction of water as a tool for revenue collection as well. And that's aided by the last block on the bottom left-hand side, which is the installation of smart meters. So you'll see in our support to these municipalities summarized later on, we've given from the Provincial Treasury side some limited grant support for smart meters in municipalities. But in the Division of Revenue bill that was tabled last month, the National Treasury gave indicative allocations for the 4 debt relief municipalities of 46 million rands each. Those amounts, I should say, are soft allocations in the Division of Revenue bill. The National Treasury has cautioned that they will revise those based on the final business plan submitted, and those also won't be cash transfers to the municipalities. The National Treasury will pay for the smart meters and their installation from the service provider. So it's an indirect grant, but we are hopeful that all 4 of those municipalities will get substantial amounts, hopefully in the range of 46 million each, to accelerate the rollout of smart meters, which should dramatically improve their revenue collection and also the accuracy of billing and consumption data, and help to reduce some of the losses, some of the electricity and water losses in their municipalities. Okay, so I promised you detail on the 4 debt relief municipalities. I'm going to go through, as I said, Beaufort West in some detail, and we've got identical slides on the other 3 debt relief municipalities. So the Beaufort West is currently, as you can see in that sort of teardrop shape there, in the 2nd cycle of compliance. They're achieving a score of 100% last month in April 2025, and that's an improvement from their compliance of 85% that was achieved in the first year. So that 85% compliance, I should note, was still good enough for National Treasury to recommend the write-off of the first year of debt relief. So you don't have to achieve 100% compliance. The 85% was sufficient. That very complicated, detailed table at the top of the slide is a snapshot from the monthly letter that the Provincial Treasury writes to National Treasury with our assessment of compliance, and C1 to C41 there reflect the 41 conditions that the municipality has to adhere to. So those conditions are all spelt out in some detail in MFMA Circular 124. You can see there that there are a couple of no answers on the conditions, yet Beaufort West still achieved 100%. So, for example, condition 7 requires that you have a funded budget. So Beaufort West doesn't have a funded budget, but they do have a financial recovery plan in place that, if they adhere to and fully implement, will achieve a funded budget over time. So the program has been designed to allow that that acknowledges that these are municipalities in trouble. It doesn't require immediate perfection from them. The conditions require, if you don't have a funded budget yet, you must have measures in place that will get you to that. So Beaufort West was able to achieve a 100% score even with an unfunded budget. So I hope that gives you a sense of the kind of level of detail of the conditions, but also the reasonableness of the approach, that it's progressive to achieve over the 3 years, a full turnaround of the municipalities. And it's designed to try and address the underlying causes, not just the surface level payments to Eskom. Turning to the detail summarized in the text at the bottom of the slide, obviously the most important immediate thing is that municipalities are required to pay Eskom monthly. And in Beaufort West's case, this hasn't been a problem since they were admitted to the program. And they also need to show that in their system, that in their MSCO data strings, that they are reporting this accurately. And in Beaufort West's case, they have. Some of the other municipalities do have occasional problems in the reconciliation there. And the Provincial Treasury is assisting them to resolve those. Sometimes it's a challenge with the service provider, the vendor. As I mentioned in the second block there, the municipality has an unfunded budget, but it has a financial recovery plan in place, which allows them to meet that condition. And then in terms of using electricity and water as collection tools, the municipality does implement water restrictions in terms of the national policy limits. They also have the progressive installation of smart meters, which we've talked to already, and they most importantly have implemented a consolidated municipal bill. So in other words, you can't pay just your electricity bill and get your electricity reconnected. You have to pay your full consolidated bill for all the service charges and property rates before, or have a payment arrangement at least on that before you can have your electricity reconnected. So that, otherwise, as I was explaining earlier, you might have a viable electricity business, but the rest of the municipality is non-viable, and then the municipality still wouldn't be able to pay Eskom. So Beaufort West is doing well on that with a consolidated bill. They didn't complete the tariff tool, but they have other tariff studies that they were able to submit in place of that. And we're actually also funding them to do a new project at the moment on redesigning their tariffs to ensure that they're properly cost reflective as well. So Beaufort West is quite well positioned on that. You can see there that the collection rate for Beaufort West has at times been as low as 62%. They've had pushed it up to 88%. The requirement of the debt relief program is that municipalities must have a collection rate of 85% or higher, a quarterly collection rate of 85% or higher. This is, I would say, the second most important condition. Obviously, the most important condition being that a municipality must pay Eskom timeously. But a lot of the other conditions are really enablers to achieve a solid collection rate. And the minimum that the program requires is 85%. You can see there that for the month of April, Beaufort West's collection rate had dropped to 82%, which is far below what is required. Fortunately for them, the collection rate is measured on a quarterly basis. So if they're able to correct and pick up that collection rate in the subsequent months, they can still achieve, and that's why they achieve, because April isn't the end of a quarter, that's why they don't get penalized in the scoring on this slide, so they still get the 100%, but they will, they need to pick up the collections in order to qualify by the end of the quarter. And we are a little bit worried about that. In fact, my minister, I think on Friday, signed a letter to the municipality raising a caution around this. So again, the provincial treasury is very much on, placing pressure and giving warnings and cautions to municipalities as soon as we see even an indication that they're at risk of non-compliance here. Okay. I'm going to move on then to the next municipality, Cederberg municipality. Cederberg has done very well on the debt relief program. Again, their score is 93% at the moment, so well within what you'd expect. They fully complied. They complied and qualified in the first year. No problem with their Eskom payments or their payments to the water trading entity, except in a few cases where the bills have been delivered late, but that's on the part of the water trading entity. Cederberg is the first municipality in this group to achieve a funded budget status. So last year's budget in Cederberg was already funded. So, really reflecting the strong turnaround in the finances of Cederberg. They are also complying with the revenue collection restrictions in that third block, and you can see the kind of benefits of that in the collection rates that they're able to achieve in that fourth block there. So really strong performance from Cederberg, and essentially I would say we have no particular concerns about Cederberg's ability to qualify for the second consecutive year of debt relief. Matsikama, also a strong performer on the program, also qualified for the first cycle of write-off and is on track to comply for the second year. Average score of 95% at the moment, no problems with the payments of their bulk accounts, and the municipality had an unfunded budget last year. They tabled a funded budget this year. We're still completing the assessment of the final adopted budget, but optimistic that they will also have turned the corner to achieve a funded budget. So I can't confirm that yet, but yeah, a significant progress in Matsikama, and you can see there that they've also achieved well on the collection rate, although again, similar to Beaufort West, a dip in the most recent month. And if that's not reversed, then this whole picture could be undermined. And so we are also cautious around the progress in Matsikama. So a little bit of caution there and a sign of risk. And I think that's just the reality of the difficult situation in all of these municipalities, is that, they cannot afford to take a wrong step. And the provincial treasury's role is to keep watching out and reminding them and assisting them to avoid those pitfalls. Okay, and then the fourth municipality is Kannaland, and I'm going to take a little bit longer here. Kannaland, you'll see, also performed very well in the first year of debt relief, managed to achieve that 85% collection rate, which was, 80% was required initially, and then moved it up to 85% in the last quarter of last year. So showing that Kannaland can perform at that level. However, they've now regressed significantly. You'll see they've got 63% compliance, a whole lot of no's in that score sheet at the top there. Their monthly Eskom payments have not been made timeously. That's how they have 18 million rands in new arrears debt. And, that's the municipality has run up costs that they're paying other than which have left them with not sufficient cash to be able to pay Eskom. This is in large part why The province has decided that the province has assessed that the municipality is in financial crisis, and the constitution then requires that an intervention be imposed. We're working with National Treasury's Municipal Financial Recovery Service, who are in the process of finalizing a financial recovery plan for the municipality. I think we have a briefing of council scheduled for Wednesday next week, in fact, on that draft financial recovery plan, and then it'll go out for formal public consultation after that. So we're nearing the completion of a financial recovery plan, but really that can't come soon enough. You can see the obvious evidence of a financial crisis in the municipality in the fact that they're unable to pay their Eskom bill. The municipality's collection rate is relatively good, but they're, it's not at the standard required at the moment. And they have a challenge, particularly in Eskom supplied areas, where greater reliance on water meters will be needed, but their cost structure is such that they're not able to balance the books at the moment. So Kannaland definitely at high risk of not complying with sufficiently to benefit from the second year of debt relief, and significant remedial actions needed in Kannaland. Okay, so I'm going to highlight the provincial support. I've tried to kind of speak to a lot of this already as I go through the examples, because I think it kind of lands there as well, and illustrates better in the examples as we work through it. But to summarize, so this is specific to the debt relief municipalities. We monitor on a monthly basis all 41 conditions, and we have to sign off monthly on the level of compliance by the municipalities and unpack the reasons for non-compliance and give feedback to both the municipality and to National Treasury. Where municipalities have failed to pay Eskom timeously, so this really only applies to Kannaland in this group of 4 municipalities, we have facilitated engagements with Eskom to ensure that Eskom doesn't implement their credit control measures, i.e. cutting off the supply to the municipality without first engaging. And we've so far managed to negotiate kind of leniency from Eskom. We've identified, as I emphasized, the financial crisis in Kannaland and responded appropriately within the law in imposing an intervention and the preparation of that financial recovery plan. We have provided some financial assistance to these municipalities. Obviously, the MFMA doesn't allow a bailout of municipalities, so nor do we have the resources to be able to bail out these levels of debt. But we have supported the pilot rollout of smart meters in these municipalities, which we think has stood them in good stead to qualify for the much larger amounts available from National Treasury's grant framework. And we've supported the applications into that as well. And those could really be a game changer for revenue collection in these municipalities. We've also assigned financial improvement program advisors to all 4 of these municipalities. So the MFIP is a program that is funded by National Treasury, managed by the provincial treasuries, where we provide hands-on advisors that actually sit in the municipalities. So each of these municipalities has a shared advisor. They work across 2 municipalities. The Department of Local Government also provides support to these 4 municipalities, to these municipalities through Section 154 support plans. So there's an active support plan in Beaufort West. At Kannaland, the 154 support plan will be initiated following the implementation of the financial recovery plan. And there's also an operational support plan underway with monthly feedback meetings in Matsikama. And at that point, I'm going to ask my colleague Kim K. Nietling to outline the situation in Theewaterskloof, which does not form part of the debt relief program, but does have arrear debt to Eskom. Kim, over to you.
Thank you, Stephen. Good morning, Minister, committee members, mayors, and officials. So as Stephen mentioned, the Theewaterskloof municipality is not part of the debt relief program, but has arrear debt to Eskom. And so these arrear debt began in 2024, and that was after the cut-off date. for the municipal debt relief program. And as you have heard, as at the end of March 2025, the debt was 54.53 million rather, and that is fully payable by the municipality. So the municipality has a payment arrangement with Eskom, but the payments that are being made is insufficient to cover the current bills, right? So the support that we are providing to Theewaterskloof is a bit different because all the debt are payable. The PT has facilitated engagements between Eskom and the municipality. A financial crisis has been identified for the initiation of the Section 1395 intervention, and that means that the Municipal Financial Recovery Service is currently developing a financial recovery plan. So that plan has already been consulted with the municipality, with the council, with the public, with the local labor forum, and that specifically happened on the 2nd and the 3rd of June. So the MFRS is busy finalizing the draft so that it can be published for further comments. So in terms of Theewaterskloof's Eskom areas, they have a large area that is currently being supplied by Eskom, and that obviously contributes to the underlying challenges that they are experiencing in terms of their strained cash flow position. But despite this, the collection rates have improved from 77% to 83%, although it is a bit below the target of 85%. Some of the other initiatives is that a cash flow committee has been established, and that committee is chaired by the MM. The Provincial Treasury forms part of that committee, and we meet on a weekly basis where we specifically track the revenue inflows, and there's a specific focus on the expenditure management, specifically on what expenditures are being paid for that week. So also to mention that the municipal manager has been appointed on the 29th of May. The CFO has been appointed in the recent months. And so that is definitely a commitment from the municipality side that they are moving in the right direction and they want to see change. There's also various other initiatives that will be implemented, and that will happen as soon as the financial recovery plan will be implemented. Stephen, I'm handing over to you again.
Thanks very much, Kim. I'm just going to take you through the last slide, our conclusion, just to emphasize again that municipal debt relief is extraordinary support. So this is, we've in 30 years of this local government system, we've never seen a debt write-off like this previously. What has happened here, so as I mentioned earlier, there is a strict injunction in the MFMA that we cannot bail out municipalities. This is the closest thing we've ever seen to it. What has happened here is that the relief that National Treasury has provided to Eskom has then been required to be passed on to municipalities. So now I think those of us that work in the local government space have for years said, how come state-owned enterprises get bailouts from National Treasury, but municipalities don't? And so we've argued that there should be some kind of pass on, and that is essentially what has happened here, is that National Treasury has said to Eskom, look, you have to post-COVID, post the extraordinary debts that were run up in that period, you have to provide a once-off write-off, but it has to be done on a basis that is sustainable. The municipalities, in order to qualify for this debt relief, have to do the hard work to make sure that their business model is sustainable in future and that they won't require any further debt write-off. And you can see that also in the fact that municipalities that have accrued new arrears after that once-off write-off, that you see there in the circular 124 at the bottom of the slide. So Theewaterskloof has debts that arose during 2024 and into 2025. Those debts are not eligible to be written off. This is once off. Municipalities have to turn themselves around, and the Provincial Treasury is fully committed to taking advantage of this unique opportunity and supporting municipalities to take advantage of that. We're very proud of the progress that has been made, that, 4 municipalities in the province benefited, 4 poor municipalities benefited to the tune of 93 million rands in the first year of debt write-off. We expect at least 3, and we hope 4 municipalities will qualify again in the second and third years for the same amounts. And that's really a tremendous boost to be able to turn around those municipalities much, much faster than if they had to pay off those amounts plus interest on top of that. So it really accelerates the recovery of these municipalities. We monitor actively on a monthly basis and take actions wherever we see things going wrong. So we're very proud of the performance of those municipalities. And I want to emphasize those MMs, those mayors are the ones doing the hard work to make sure that these conditions are actually implemented on the ground and complied with. And I think we're very proud of the turnaround that's been achieved in most of these municipalities. And we want to make sure that Kanaland gets back on track with that. And we want to make sure we will support Teerwaterskloof through the financial recovery process to do it the hard way, because this extraordinary once-off support is not available to them, but we will support them to do the hard work of paying off that debt once they recover their financial performance. Chair, I'm going to end there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kenyon. I really, really appreciate that presentation and the openness and transparency that has been shown by both presentations in terms of the challenges that currently exist. It does appear to be a bit of a mixed bag in terms of the challenges facing these various municipalities. And I think the thing that we need to emphasize, and I think that's come across quite strongly, is that each municipality is unique, and the municipalities who have challenges need to be supported as much as possible. That said, I think it does get to a point where there are more immediate interventions required. And as you say, it can't be a case of us quote unquote bailing out municipalities that are failing. It really is important to look at what the key fundamental administrative issues and governance issues are in some of those areas to see how those can be best resolved as well going forward. Before I open up for questions, I'm just going to see if any of the mayors or the representatives of the mayors of those municipalities would like to just give a short input. We're not taking any presentations or anything like that, but if any of the mayors or MMs or representatives would like to make any brief inputs on what has been presented, after which we'll take questions. And then between Mr. Kenyon and his team and the Minister and the mayors present, we can then answer some of those questions. If there are any mayors who would like to make any inputs, please raise your hands on the virtual platform. I don't see any hands. All right, members, I know, there we go. Sorry, we've got the Teerwaterskloof Municipality Executive Mayor. Over to you, Mayor.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you to you and the Standing Committee, as well as the Provincial Department of Finance, who assist us with the financial recovery plan. We are in financial distress. I just have a question. Does TWK not qualify for the smart meter program? And if not, Chair, may I ask why not?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Are there any other inputs from any of the other mayors' representatives? No, I would also just like to acknowledge Carl Punt, Councillor Carl Punt from Selga, who is also joining us. All right then, Mr. Kenyon, if you would like to just see if you can answer that question before we open up then for questions from members.
Sure, I think it's an excellent question, and it's one that troubles us as well. At this point, National Treasury has chosen to make their grant for smart meters only applicable to municipalities that are part of the debt relief program. So I think members will know that although municipalities in the Western Cape have done very well in complying with the debt relief program, a number of municipalities in the rest of the country have really struggled to meet the conditions. And I think National Treasury is trying to use the smart meter grant to bolster the performance of those municipalities. So at this stage, for this financial year and last financial year, only municipalities that are part of the Eskom debt relief program are eligible. We keep lobbying the National Treasury to open the grant up to other municipalities in the future, and we're optimistic that at some point we will be able to get, because I mean the resources available there, it's 650 million rand in total for smart meters. So it's a lot more than what the province has, and it would be of tremendous benefit if we are able to get it for Theewaterskloof. But I must just be frank that in this financial year, that is not an option, unfortunately, for Theewaterskloof. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, I have a follow-up question.
Thank you very much. Sorry. Yeah, I'll recognize you in a second. Just want to check, are there any other hands? Moment. No. Sorry, the municipal manager. I'm not sure which municipality that's from, but we'll come to you in a second, Kanaland. And then we also have Mr. Makendlana. Sorry, was it a follow-up from yourself, Mayor?
Yes, Chair.
Yes, sure.
Isn't there a possibility that province can assist us with smart meters, especially in the areas where Eskom is supplying electricity? We have no measure to do debt collection, especially in the Eskom supplied areas where Eskom supplied directly to the public.
Okay, thanks very much. I'm going to take the other hands now, and then after that, we will open up to members. We had the municipal manager of Kanaland first.
Right, thank you, Chairperson. My name is Lucky Steenkamp, the CFO, sitting with the municipal manager and the acting director technical. Now, I'm glad that in the presentation, Stephen indicated that they are looking at the possibility of imposing extension on debt relief program for municipalities that are struggling, especially Kanaland, as been highlighted there, because we currently experiencing a financial crisis. We even requested a meeting with Eskom to ask them to assist in terms of credit control measures, which they clearly indicated that they are not able to assist municipality in the areas which are supplied by the municipality. During that meeting, we even discussed the possibility of considering to apply for a license to NELSA, so that we can take over the two areas. When you look at our collection rate, the two areas which are directly supplied by Eskom, this is where the collection rate is low, as compared to other areas where the municipality is supplying electricity directly. So that extension will assist also to enable the municipality to maximize the revenue, considering we are currently going the process of reviewing our budget-related policies, wherein one of the policy we are recommending to council that we should apply for a split in instances where the consumers are owing the municipality. A certain portion should be directed to the long outstanding debts. That will assist the municipality in terms of maximizing the revenue. So that extension will come handy to assist the municipality in the reforms that we are undergoing. It will really assist the municipality in terms of improving the revenue. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. And then Mr. Makindana.
Morning. Thank you, Chairperson. I am here with the acting executive mayor, Councillor Gina Dempis, as well as the CFO, acting CFO, Mr. Bradley Jacobs. Chair, no, I just want to find out. Steve has referred to the issue of no bailouts, which I understand quite clearly. But Chair, I just want to find out, a municipality like ours, we have areas like Maritzburg and Merweville that are 160 kilometers from Beaufort West. We are struggling to provide the service there, particularly issues of refuse collection, because we don't have the correct equipment. We don't have the equipment at all in those areas to be able to collect, to do refuse collection. Now, I'm just thinking that a few years back, the Department of Local Government, they assisted and provided us, for instance, with fire engine vehicles, because we did not have any of those type of vehicles to be able to fight fires and so forth. Is there no way that maybe from the province side they could assist, provide us with that type of fleet that we can use in those areas where we cannot really collect a refuse, because we are using a tractor which is not a suitable vehicle to be able to collect waste? Is there any possibility that maybe we can be assisted with those type of fleet? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. All right, Mr. Kenyon, I'll hand over to you to see how many of those you can answer. Some of them might be a little bit tricky, but perhaps, Minister, you also are more than welcome if you wish to make any inputs. But Mr. Kenyon, over to you.
Chair, do you want
I'll
me
start
or
and
Stephen
then
to go first? Oh, Stephen can go first.
Thanks, Minister. I'll start and leave you with the difficult stuff to sweep. I appreciate the efforts by both Mayor De Bruin and the acting MM in Beaufort West to lobby for additional funds on this platform. I would just say we have formal grant application processes that municipalities go through. So with regards to waste vehicles or with regards to smart meters, both municipalities have been directed to those formal processes, and I don't think it assists us to go through in any detail the merits or demerits of individual applications here. But there are possibilities around that. I will just say, for the benefit of the committee, particularly with regards to the smart meters, that although the province can provide some limited funding, I mean, the scale of what we're able to provide, if you see in the slides where we're providing sort of 1 million rands for a pilot project in a municipality versus what the National Treasury can provide, 46 million rands in a single year, we really want to get our municipalities, and particularly a municipality of the size of Theewaterskloof, to make a substantial difference. Although the applications to the province can help to pilot approaches, to get to the kind of scale that Theewaterskloof needs, we need a different approach. But I think in their case, getting into the full financial recovery plan and the support program around that is the appropriate way to do that, and through the formal grant application processes as well. A kind of a similar answer to the CFO in Kannaland regarding, we've been part of facilitating those engagements with Eskom, and Eskom is considering, as I understand it, although they're not able to assist on the revenue collection in Eskom supplied areas, not able to assist on the revenue collection on municipal bills in Eskom supplied areas, so for water, etc. They are offering some technical assistance on some of the other issues that the municipality needs around bulk metering, etc. and some of the technical capacity around the municipal electricity infrastructure. So I'm hoping that as part of the financial recovery plan, that will also be taken up, and that we'll keep building on that relationship with Eskom. Ultimately, I think what this whole program shows us is that Eskom and municipalities really have very aligned interests. They're both in the electricity distribution and sales business, and it works, it's in both of their interests that the municipality functions and collects its revenue, and that Eskom is financially sustainable as well. And yeah, on the financial crisis and the need to improve revenue collection in Kannaland, I think also the financial recovery plan gives a much more holistic, will give a much more holistic approach to that, dealing with both revenue improvement and also the expenditure controls that are needed in Kannaland. And I think I would rather leave that to the full financial recovery process. Obviously, that plan at the moment is still in draft. So I hope I have summarized the responses there. Thanks very much, Chair. Over to you, Minister.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chair, I will start with the Beaufort West section before I move to Kannaland and Theewaterskloof for reasons that Beaufort is already under AFRP. So, for example, Beaufort West has qualified former Mayor Reynolds and the team submitted applications to the Provincial Treasury regarding grant applications. And you will see in the new Western Cape Government 2025 budget that Beaufort has qualified for grants from the Provincial Treasury in this regard. You will also notice that what we've tried to do is we tried to complement the grants that Beaufort West will now be receiving from the National Treasury so that we do not duplicate matters. But Beaufort West will be receiving grant funding both from the Provincial Treasury at the Western Cape Government as well as National Treasury at the national government level in this regard. With Beaufort West, and this is for most financial interventions actually, we might be speaking about electricity here today, but there are many things in the different municipalities that are affecting one another. So at Beaufort specifically, obviously we saw a dip in the decline in the collection rate, and we're hoping that this will take up. The cash commitments continue to exceed the available cash and cash equivalents. The cash coverage is not where I would like them to be. I can see that the liquidity ratio is not where we would like it to be. The budget, the draft budget was unfunded but broadly compliant with the FRP. So I'm hoping that the final one that they'll be submitting will be funded, hopefully. We also see concerns regarding employment costs because the employment costs are still quite high, as well as the credit control. So when we talk about these various different matters that are happening in municipalities, particularly those where there are financial recoveries, we do need to speak about them in context of all the different matters that are happening in the different municipalities. I'll quickly skip to Kannaland and Theewaterskloof. Kannaland has also qualified for grant applications through the Provincial Treasury, but both Kannaland Municipality and Theewaterskloof will also be receiving support through our financial recovery plans that we are currently concluding. And I can say, though, that having a financial recovery plan in place is really that first step. And we want to be able to work together as a team in Kannaland. We want to be able to work together as a team in Theewaterskloof in order to get ourselves over that finish line regarding a financial recovery plan. In terms of the Kannaland, for example, I know that there is an active partnering proposal that is under discussion with Eskom, and under this model, Eskom could possibly take over electricity operations in Kannaland, collect the revenue, and pay itself first, with remaining funds being passed on to the municipality. Or, Eskom could provide more technical support to enable the municipality to collect. It is expected that this type of model would improve infrastructure and prevent funds that are earmarked for Eskom to go to other items. There is a concern that the funds for Eskom are currently being used on temporary staff, and we need to be able to work together on all these different little issues in order to get our finances back on track. But like I said, some of these issues are not just electricity. It is interconnected within the different municipalities. And I'm hoping that with Kannaland and Theewaterskloof as well, that we are able to use these processes in order to get ourselves back on track. And in Theewaterskloof also, I mean, I'm looking at the cash coverage and liquidity ratios of both Kannaland and Theewaterskloof, and they are also not ideal based on the respective norms and standards, but we can get there. I'm positive, I'm hopeful that if we work together as a team within our different municipalities, that we can get there and that we can get funded budgets for our respective municipalities. It might take a little extra while in some, but it is possible. In Theewaterskloof, we also see concerns regarding some cash coverage, some liquidity ratios a little bit below norm, debt that is also that's over 30 days and 90 days, and there are problems in every single municipality that has been raised. And I'm happy to, if Chair, if you want, we are more than happy to on a regular basis give feedback to either this committee and or finance or jointly in terms of how far we are really in terms of getting some of these items over the line. But in terms of Kannaland and Theewaterskloof, the first prize really is let us work together to complete that financial recovery plan, because once that is concluded, a lot of other opportunities in order to get ourselves out of financial crisis will start kicking in. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks very much, Minister. All right, members, I'm going to open up for a round of questions now. I'm sure members are itching to ask some questions of clarity and get some further information themselves. I know we have a lot of experience amongst our members in local government and also in finance. To kick us off, we have Member Masipa.
Chairperson, thank you very much. And to Minister, good morning, and to the rest of the mayors that are on this platform, good morning. Apologies that we could not recognize your presence earlier. Chairperson, I know that we don't have unlimited time. I'm just going to go to TWK as one area that I just want to really make sure of the concerns there. As far as we are concerned, WTK, I mean, TWK has never had the debt problems until 2023. 2024, if I'm correct. But one of the areas that have been highlighted by provincial treasury is that the inability to pay creditors is as a result of leadership culture and consumer culture. As far as I'm concerned, TWK is in an area where there are lots of farmers operating in that particular area. I just want to get a feel from either the TWK mayor or the National Treasury as to what is the problem with regards to TWK. How did they find themselves in 2024 to be in this situation? Just for us as members of this portfolio to be able to make a meaningful contribution to their issues that they are having with regards to Eskom debt. I hope my question is clear, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Member Masipa. Member Stoffel, and then we'll take Member Constable after that.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning, everyone on the platform. Special greetings to the mayors that have joined us. Am I audible, Chair?
Yes, loud and clear.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, let me appreciate the presentation from the Treasury and also from the Minister. And I'm happy also that we have invited the municipal managers and everyone involved in this thing. Chair, I just want to check with the minister. My first question is to say, I've heard the minister have registered to say her wish is to that all municipalities must work together with them. And to me, it's such a critical statement because I want to check from the minister. Is there maybe municipalities who don't want to cooperate with province in terms of resolving these problems? That's my first question. And then the second question is that, and that refers to Kanaland. I have noted that the current score of Kanaland is 63. If I have, I'm speaking under correction, they can correct me. I want to know, before the intervention so far, what was the previous score so that we know where are we going? Whether our interventions had an impact on the municipality. So to me, if we are saying before they were on 53, now they are on 63, then it makes more sense in terms of accomplishing the presentation that we have received. And then the second question is that with Kanaland, first of all, they were behind with 2 months. And so maybe Kanaland have also to explain to us to say why they were never before in areas and why all of a sudden 2 months in areas. What happened? What really happened there? So that we can know, and that I think it can give us a more a clear picture to say in terms of what was being presented by the treasury and from the minister's side. And then also on Dierwaterskloof, yes, Member Masipa have touched on it to say what happened. But I just wanted to check. Dierwaterskloof, I understand that the presentation have said that Dierwaterskloof case is something else. But when it comes to financial recovery plan, you take Kanaland. Kanaland is coming now from last year, if I'm correct, Minister, you must correct me, under financial recovery plan. This plan cannot just come to its finalization. There's the speed in this financial recovery plan. It's on a very snail space versus Dierwaterskloof that was yesterday, and you will see the progress in Dierwaterskloof, is how far it is, and you compare it with Kanaland. So my request from the onset was to say, what measures can we do in order to speed up this recovery plan from Kanaland? Because it's coming now from a very long time. So, and I don't know, Minister is saying the financial recovery plan is there, then Treasury is saying, no, it still have to be implemented. I just want to be clarified also on that one. And then I appreciate the progress on Port West. I really appreciate it. Because if you can recall, Chair, from the onset, Beaufort West, Kanaland, and I think it was Matsigama and all those, they were on a similar level of intervention, and I could see speedy intervention. Then there's a snail pace. Then is there maybe a reason for this? Is there enough cooperation from these municipalities, or what is the problem that others is moving, others is not moving, others is moving on a snail space? I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Member Stoffel. Member Constable.
Chair, thank you very much, and good morning. Good morning to the NEC and the team. Chair, mine, is based on Stephen's presentation. The basis of the presentation for me was with regards to revenue within municipalities. my belief is always that the basis of municipalities' revenue are too small. Therefore, municipalities runs into debt and can't afford or can't pay their debtors. And I know MEC, we had a discussion, and my request was that as a provincial government, we need to do more to support municipalities. Now, I know, and I know that you will tell us that there is no funding, because funding is based on what we get from national government. But in our budget that we approved last week, there's always my concern that you always give more money to already established municipalities or to the SEZs that is there. For us to support municipalities, my belief is that we need to create a platform and an environment for municipalities to establish their own economic development processes within municipal areas to broaden the scope and the base of their revenue. Because without revenue, municipalities will always have a problem to not pay their bills, whether it is ESCOM, whether it is water boards, or whatever. There will always be that problem. So my plea really is here, while the mayors are here, MMs, is for us as a government to support municipalities beyond the kind of support that we already give them, because that support is only for them to sustain the current problems that are there. But once the FRP is done, once the support of the 154 is done, what then? Municipalities will go back, and there's a showing in Kanaland that it falls back into the same trends because of the specific revenue base. So, Chairperson, my plea will really be for us to create that conversation between the Department of Local Government, the Department of Economic Development and Tourism, the Department of Finance, to see whether we can assist municipalities with regards to economic development, so that there can be projects and processes that municipalities can do on their own and get employment on the ground, so that people get employed, so that they can pay their bills to the municipalities. That for me is a key issue that I think we need to discuss, maybe not today, but if we can at least get the commitment from the department to do that assessment and assist municipalities in that regard. Then, MEC, just a question with regards to the unfunded budgets. Did any municipalities with regards to the unfunded budgets receive concurrent with regards to the upper limits? And how many did receive and how many did not receive? If I can ask that question. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. All right, we'll take another round of questions in a second. If we just hand back to Mr. Kenyon and Minister.
Thank you, Chair. I'll try to deal with some of the questions first, because we are now venturing from electricity into some of the other items as well. So let's start with good governance. Good governance means, and this applies to provincial government, it applies to municipality, it applies to national government. You need to spend your money in a responsible manner. If you do not spend your money in a responsible manner and you end up in a financial recovery plan, the Constitution and the respective MFMA rules are clear, especially within a financial recovery plan. If certain things are triggered, we must intervene. Not may, we must. There are some voluntary interventions available in the MFMA, but in the ones that we see before us, it was a case of must. This means that a municipality got to a state where it is simply not able to manage the money that is there by them. Now, I do not believe that some of these municipalities are too small to pay their bills. I do not believe that. And one of the questions that the last member actually asked us, if we listen carefully, was the member actually asked us whether we need to consider the viability of a municipality after a support plan and a financial recovery plan, which is a much larger question to whether or not it should be under financial recovery. And maybe that is a conversation for this committee as local government and or the finance committee to have regarding the viability of municipalities and or district municipalities as well. Because that's a much larger conversation and there's not a very clear-cut answer to that particular matter. On unfunded budgets and upper limits, if you do not have a funded budget, then the Minister of Local Government is going to end up writing to you to say you cannot increase your salaries. Because an unfunded budget means that what you have in the bank account and what you have put on paper does not match one another. So if your bank account is not able to pay for the things that you've written down on paper, it means you have an unfunded budget. It means you cannot pay for everything you've budgeted for. That is really what an unfunded budget means. So it is critically important to have a funded budget, critically. In terms of municipalities that the one member asked, what was their score before financial intervention, made specific mention to Kanaland. Kanaland's FRP has not yet been approved. I just need to make that clear. So the statistics that you see before you today is prior to the approved FRP. Stephen has indicated that as a team, we're working with the municipality at the moment, and we're hoping that next week, I think it's next week, Wednesday, that the draft FRP will be before council for approval. I know that Kanaland has had a difficult relationship with the province previously, as well as with the National Treasury, but we have all now gotten to a point and to a place in the process where we were able to get a support plan adopted, and we are now working with one another to get that FRP over the line. Theewaterskloof is the same. The FRP is not yet adopted, but we are working hard to get that document over the line, because once you get that FRP over the line, a lot of other opportunities to solve this financial crisis then starts kicking in. In terms of support from the province, we will see in the 2025 budget of the Provincial Treasury that we have allocated almost, I think it's 60 million rand for the Western Cape Financial Management Capability Grant allocations over 3 years to municipalities in the province. Municipalities that will benefit from the first year is 18.6 million. Cedarburg is included there, Matsikama is included there, Overstrand, Hessequa, Oudtshoorn, Overberg, Saldanha Bay, Kanaland, Beaufort West, Central Karoo District Municipality, Prince Albert, and Laingsburg. Those are the municipalities benefiting from the first year. This is over and above the support we will be giving in terms of the financial recovery plans. This is over and above the support that we work with our National Treasury, and this is over and above the support that our sister department from local government is also affording the municipalities. And really, Chair, that financial recovery plan, particularly in those two municipalities, really is that first step of us moving out of a financial crisis. The last thing you want in a municipality actually is to be under financial recovery plan. And whether you are now Kanaland or Theewaterskloof or Beaufort West, it doesn't matter. We don't want you to be in a financial recovery plan. We want you to be out of it. We want you to be able to manage your own finances. But that is going to take time. It is a journey, and we must continuously remain in communication with one another to make sure that we are able to achieve those building blocks of the financial recovery plan so that we can get back to a point where we can say, actually, as municipalities, we have good governance in place and we manage our finances well. I'm going to also just ask Stephen just to come in with the rest of the items. I know one member asked regarding how Theewaterskloof found themselves not being able to pay, and Stephen might even want to go into some of the cash positions of the municipality in this regard as well. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks very much, Minister. I'm just going to start off by because I think you've more than covered Member Constable. Member Stoffel just asked about the specific scores from Kanaland, and I would like to just add there that, so they're at 63% now. They had quite variable scores last year, ranging between 68% in 1 month and 88% at their best. So in other words, Kanaland was able to achieve in the prior year scores of as high as 88%. So that shows what the municipality is capable of achieving. But as the minister outlined, at the moment we're not yet at the stage where we're implementing the financial recovery plan, and I think that will improve the compliance with the debt relief significantly going forward. I'm going to ask my colleague Kim K. Neetling to just very briefly touch on what happened in Theewaterskloof. Kim?
Thank you, Stephen. I see the mayor's hand is also up. Maybe he can contribute. So the municipality has always been a good performing municipality, but because they have such a large area that is being supplied with Eskom, they always had limitations, and those limitations whether they needed to stay within their revenue envelope. And so the budget has been funded in 2022-23 and prior. But since then, the governance structures collapsed. And specifically, if I can just mention, some of the key positions were vacant. CFO was vacant, MM was vacant, there were vacancies in the ACM unit. And that all contributed to the fact that the expenditure, the pace of the expenditure exceeded the pace of revenue being recovered in the municipality. And that all contributed to the strained cash position since then, and it has just built over time. Thanks.
Okay, I do see the hand of the Executive Mayor of Theewaterskloof. Would you like to make an input there, just in terms of any additional responses to those questions?
Thank you, Chair. The previous speaker has put it very mildly, and I don't blame her for that. Chair and members of the portfolio, Mr. Masipa, Masipa, yeah. You asked the reasons for why TWK is in this position. Let me start at the top. From 2021 until November 2024, we had a coalition government. And since November, a new coalition government took over the reins in TWK. For 7 months, we have tried to rectify what went wrong in the past. Let me start at the top. And I'm not using it as an excuse, but it is facts. Facts speak louder than words. There was a lack of political oversight. Political instability was the second one. Impact was non-existent in the 2022-23 financial year. We only established impact in November 2024. And since then, we have referred certain items for a 106 investigation. And while I'm on that, Council also decided in April that a senior manager there must be disciplinary action against him. We also laid a criminal charge in terms of the disciplinary code for senior managers. And that charge is pending. UIFW was on the order of the day. Poor budgeting, and if I can call it local government capturing. That is what happened in TWK, mismanagement of funds. So, yeah, we are trying hard, we are trying our best, we are trying our utmost best to turn this municipality around, and we, provincial treasury and national treasury, as well as the provincial government, has our fully support to turn this municipality around. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mayor, for that additional context, which I think is very important for all of us in terms of understanding how things have gotten to where they are. Colleagues, do we have any further questions of clarity or inputs? We obviously will take further resolutions later on when we get to that point on the agenda. But if there isn't anything, we've got Member Marais, and we then have Member Stoffel. So Member Marais, if you would like to go first.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to the mayors for their responses. Mr. Chair, just in terms of the Kanaland municipality, according to my knowledge, and I could be corrected if it's not so, this municipality has had the instability, financial instability, since 2017. We are now in 2025. And I wanted to know, in terms of the process that was followed, surely there were recommendations for the improvement of the municipality prior years. And normally there's a 3-year cycle, as was explained to us, in order to get the municipality to be at least be sustainable. Just wanted to understand what happened in terms of the progress made between 2017 and now, or can we get such a presentation perhaps in our next committee meeting? There are various phases of recovery. There's the rescue phase, and then there's the stabilization phase, and then the sustainability phase. So between 2017 and now, where is this municipality? Which phase is it in, and why is it that they are still in this situation? Now, I also just want to touch on the previous mayor from Theewaterskloof spoke about coalitions, but I don't want to go in too deep with that. But just briefly, in terms of Matsikama, there's also been a change in political leadership now. Is that also going to possibly be a factor that we now have to consider in terms of the success of the recovery of that municipality? And or is that not going to affect the current recovery plan that is in the process for that to bring that municipality to continue on the trajectory it is right now in terms of recovering? Thank you.
Thank you, Member Marais. Member Stoffel, I see you've lowered your hand. Do you still want to raise a point?
Yes, Chairperson.
Great.
I'm partly covered by Member Marais in terms of a presentation from Kanaland, because there's something not right there. We have to go deeper there to get to the real facts within Kanaland itself and the province. So I'm supporting that one. And then the second, the question that I wanted to ask for interesting sake, the Chairperson. There's municipalities, there is equal like Kanaland, small municipalities. And a person just wonder, how does they survive, these municipalities, to pay their ESCOM bills? And I want to ask the minister, is there maybe municipalities that is using their infrastructure grant to pay electricity bill? Is there in our province? Because how can one small municipality survive and other small municipalities don't survive? I know there's this thing of financial management, but how do you manage your financial status if you don't have revenue? Your area is dearness people. Most of the area is most of these indigenous people that's unemployed. They don't have income. So how does those municipalities survive? I just wanted to check with the minister. Thanks, Chair.
Thanks very much. We've also got Member Masipa, so I'm just going to let Member Masipa take this, and I think that then will be the last round of questions. Member Marie, your hand's still up. I'm assuming that's a legacy hand?
That is a legacy hand. My apologies.
No problem. Okay, Member Masipa, and then we'll take the answers, and then we will have to move on after that to the next item. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. My questions are quite long, and I'm going to maybe request that they can be provided in writing, Chair. The first question is that in terms of the debts that you are seeing with Eskom right now, what was the kind of deviations that was made by the council? Because I think the minister did really highlight that you can't spend more than what you have, and if they can really provide us with written answers. The Chair, I think we understand that this is the new coalition, but I think it is important that we get the answers instead of being deferred to the previous coalition. The second point is really regarding the measures that were taken, to prevent similar, stuff happening going forward. The collapse that they've spoken about with regards to the previous coalition. The mayor did indicate that impact did not exist; it was inactive. If we can get in terms of the consequences that have been taken in order to ensure that accountability in that regard with regards to the impacts, non-existence. With regards to, Mayor did indicate that there was no political oversight. Obviously our understanding is that the council is the one that really conducted proper political oversight. So maybe if the mayor can just provide an update, why did the political oversight not exist in that particular structure? Then what steps have been taken to address the lack of that political leadership in that space? With regards to, obviously, accountability, I think the mayor did indicate that there are actions that are being taken. If we can also be provided in writing what charges are laid against those senior managers and what the outcome is and where the process is. And obviously, giving us a full brief on that one. And with regards to Section 196, how many matters were referred to the MEC in that regard, and what progress has been made on those investigations? If we can get that shared, that would be great. And obviously, primarily is while the Provincial Treasury is trying to help, is that we need to get a plan as to how the current political leadership is doing to restore good governance, financial health, and oversight capacity within the municipalities, and what commitments can the municipality make to prevent the repeat of the same situation. Chair, that's all my questions. Thank you very much for your indulgence.
Thank you very much. Minister and Mr. Kenyon, over to you for the final round of responses.
Thank you, Chair. I'll start with a few before I hand over to Stephen. The first thing that we need to make sure that we put on the table, and this has always been like this, the Western Cape government cannot run all 30 municipalities. We are different spheres of government. That's the first and foremost point of departure. We are different spheres of government. However, when something like a financial crisis occurs, the law then says there are certain things we must do. An area with financial recovery plan. Chair, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, you just went a little bit wobbly for a sec. Maybe just repeat your last sort of 10 seconds.
No problem. Chair, in terms of an area of whether it's coalition government, a change in a government is not going to change you coming out of the financial recovery plan necessarily. You must follow the building blocks and the steps of the financial recovery plan to get out of the financial recovery plan. Because it means that either the mismanagement or the maladministration, whatever it was that occurred in a particular municipality, has gotten to such a state that you're not able to pay your bills. And every municipality is different in terms of what got them there. But if you are in a financial recovery plan, a change of government, and you will see even with Beaufort West was in a financial recovery plan before it had a change of government. And you must follow the steps of the financial recovery plan to get out of it. In terms of Kanaland, the one member asked regarding the financial instability since 2017, what is different, what has happened, and so on. We are more than happy to do more comprehensive briefings on the different municipalities. But we also need to be honest with ourselves. In the Kanaland municipality, the support of the provincial treasury and the national treasury was not wanted. However, we are working together as a team now because we said we have dealt with these particular matters and we're working as a team so we can get our financial recovery plan over the table because it's in everyone's best interest. It's in the people's best interest that we get Kanaland out of financial crisis. And Chair, if you want us with our sister department, some of the questions are more local government matters such as the investigations and things. But if you would like us to do more comprehensive briefings on the different areas that you're interested in, municipalities and so on, and the different topics, we are more than happy to do so. Obviously, today, the majority of the presentation we prepared was regarding electricity at Eskom, but we are more than happy to prepare more comprehensive briefings in this regard. In terms of using infrastructure money to pay Eskom, the member made reference to it. I'm not sure if the member is referring to a particular municipality, but if she can please, if she has specific information, to please report that to me immediately. The committee has my email address as well as the department's email address. If there's evidence that infrastructure grants are being used to pay for things that it's not supposed to be there, please report it to me immediately, because then we need to deal with that in that regard. But I'm not sure if the member is referring to a particular municipality or if she's just asking about the processes and so on. And I'll also ask Stephen to come in here regarding how grants are supposed to be used. In terms of deviations, I know there are some municipalities that relaxed some of the procedures recently. Beaufort West was one of them in December, and I wrote to Beaufort to caution against it because you've gotten your municipality to a state where we can move to stage 2, and we see that Beaufort West, for example, graduated to stage 2 of the financial recovery plan. But we need to continue working on those matters that are good in the recovery plan in order to get out of the financial crisis. It is difficult, Chair. It is very difficult. Because once you've gotten to a point where the money in your bank account is not able to pay for everything, it is very difficult to go out there and say, okay, this is the wonderful vision we have for our municipality, because actually you don't have enough money for that wonderful vision. And this is not just applicable to Beaufort West. This is applicable to any municipality that has an unfunded budget. In a household, the money in your bank account is the money in your bank account. And you must be able to budget with that money that you have, that cash. So things we have in place, for example, are our cash committees, where we advise municipalities in terms of their cash commitments. For example, something we look at is your liquidity ratio, your cash flow, whether your conditional grants are cash backed. It's whether you are collecting, it's in terms of your collection rate, whether in terms of your different revenue, what is the plan? Is everything that you've put on paper what you also have in the bank account? Or are you budgeting for more on paper than what you have in the bank account? So, for example, a member earlier made an example regarding salaries. If you don't have money in the bank account, you can't increase salaries. It is what it is. If you don't have money in the bank account, then we need to have a conversation if you're increasing your temporary workers more and more and more every month. Those are conversations we need to have. And also, in order to qualify, for example, for the ESCOM debt relief, we need to make sure that we stay on track with those conditions the National Treasury has put before us. There are some items that the municipalities have spoken to us about in terms of assistance. For example, the proposal from Kanland regarding ESCOM and the infrastructure part that we're currently looking at, we're working with them. For example, from TWK, Waterskloof, sorry, where they've asked that we speak to National Treasury regarding the conditions of the smart meters. There are various different items that we are currently trying to get over the line. But it is going to take time. But I'm going to ask Chair if Stephen can just come in regarding deviation, investigations, those cash matters, how infrastructure grants need to be used in terms of their respective conditions. And Stephen, I know that with the financial instability also, there's also extra information there that can also be put on the table. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Minister. Yes, so just on Honourable Moret's question, absolutely, conditional grants obviously can't be used to pay ESCOM. In these municipalities, I don't, as far as I'm aware, that's not a situation that has occurred. Hence, ESCOM hasn't been paid in most of these cases. There have been instances where grant funds have been used to cover other costs in the municipalities, but at the moment, that's not what's happening in any of these municipalities. So in the past, that has happened, but one of the key pillars of our budget funding plans in all of these municipalities is to have a ring-fenced bank account where conditional grants are paid into, and that must remain cash backed. In other words, any unspent money must be able to be accounted for in that bank account. And we monitor that on a monthly basis. So we're doing what we can to limit the risk of that. And I think municipalities also have a good understanding of why they shouldn't dip into those funds. So that's a significant risk in the system, but one that is being managed relatively well at this stage. And then, sorry, that was Member Stoffel's question. On the questions around Waterskloof and deviations, etc., and I noted that Member Masipa wanted a response in writing. Can I suggest that we, I just need to speak to the colleagues at National Treasury, but as part of the process to develop a financial recovery plan for the municipality, the National Treasury Municipal Financial Recovery Services have done quite an extensive status quo assessment that describes the situation in the municipality today and how they got to that situation. And that report has been completed and submitted to the municipality and to various other stakeholders. And I don't see any reason why we couldn't submit it to the committee as well. I just need to confirm that. And then we can provide that, and I think that will outline on all of those issues, the supply chain, the impact challenges, etc., in some detail, what has happened in Waterskloof. I hope that covers it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and a big thank you to everybody who has joined us for today's meeting. I know it was quite an extensive item and quite a lot of information, and obviously our committee doesn't always deal with matters pertaining to finance, but obviously with the correlations in terms of local government and the municipal functions, it was important for us to get that. And I think perhaps some of the other issues can be taken forward, maybe in the Finance Committee as well. But I really would like to thank the Minister, Mr. Kenyon, and his team, Ms. Neetlin, and also all of the mayors who have joined us today for the meeting. It really has been, I think, very enlightening, and it's certainly the first step in the direction of doing what we can to assist municipalities in ensuring that they're able to service their debt and also move off from a platform towards being more sustainable and serving the people of the Western Cape more effectively at the end of the day. That really is our goal. So I would just like to say then that those who were only here for the first presentation, including the mayors, are now welcome to log off the meeting. If you would like to stay on as an observer and enjoy the rest of the items, you're obviously more than welcome to do so. But I will give you a couple of seconds just to log off before we then move on to the next item, which is the report on the Marine Oil Pollution Preparedness Response and Cooperation Bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Goodbye.
Thank you, Chair, to you and your committee. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thanks, everybody. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is the adoption of our final mandate report on the Marine Oil Pollution Preparedness Response and Cooperation Bill. Members have received the minutes of the Select Committee on Transport, Public Service and Administration, which indicate the negotiating mandates were considered, as well as the C list and the amended bill. Committee supported the bill with certain proposals that were included in the D bill, and we are now able to submit the draft committee report. Mr. Kritsia, would you require me then to read that in terms of the final mandate, or shall we take any further inputs? I don't think there is any requirement to do so at the moment due to the fact that we have deliberated quite extensively on this. Mr. Kritsia, just from your side, shall I read that in then?
That's correct, Chairperson. If there's no comments or further input from any members, you can just read the report in for record purposes and we can adopt.
All right, so that has been distributed as mentioned. This is the report of the Standing Committee on Local Government, Environmental Affairs and Development Planning on the Marine Oil Pollution Preparedness Response and Cooperation Bill, B10D-2022 NCOP, dated 17th of June 2025, as follows. The Standing Committee on Local Government, Environmental Affairs and Development Planning, having considered the subject of the Marine Oil Pollution Preparedness Response and Cooperation Bill, B10D-2022 NCOP, referred to the committee in accordance with Standing Rule 217, reports that it supports the bill. Do we have any inputs from any other members on the committee? Do we have support for that? We have previously supported it anyway. Thank you. Can I have a proposer and a seconder, perhaps? Member Masipa proposed. Do we have a seconder? Member Constable. Thank you very much. And Member Johnson thirds it if we need one. Thank you very much. All right, colleagues, that then takes us to the next item on the agenda, which is the consideration and adoption of the negotiating mandate report on the Independent Municipal Authority Demarcation Bill. You will remember, colleagues, that our public participation that we undertook in 3 towns across the Western Cape included 2 pieces of legislation. The first was the Monitoring and Support of Municipalities Amendment Bill, and the other was the Independent Municipal Authority Demarcation Bill. The negotiating mandate that was adopted by the 6th Parliament and the oral and written comments that were submitted during the public participation process have been distributed. It's important for us to note that the Standing Committee on Local Government did consider the bill during the closing stages of the 6th Parliament. However, due to time constraints, the committee was unable to conduct public hearings. The matter was raised with the chairperson of the NCOP through the Office of the Speaker. Despite this, the committee did submit a negotiating mandate at the time. The NCOP Select Committee did not conclude its deliberation on the bill, and it lapsed following the election. This has been discussed by our committee a few times, including getting legal opinion and legal feedback. The bill was revived during the 7th Parliament, and according to Rule 2172 of the NCOP, when a bill is revived, proceedings on the bill resume from the stage at which it had lapsed. However, provinces were afforded opportunities for further briefings and to facilitate public hearings, which we did. Flowing from a discussion with Ms. Mpho Koele, our legal advisor, and I quote, "It's more accurate to have a new mandate as the old one has technically lapsed with the lapsing of the bill and cannot be revived in the same way as the bill." Now, the proposal, therefore, is not that we necessarily amend the previous negotiating mandate that was submitted, but rather that we resubmit the previous negotiating mandate as a new mandate. I do think we have Ms. Koele present on the meeting. Is she present still, Mr. Kutsia?
That's correct, Chair. She is in the meeting.
Okay. All right. Ms. Koele, can I just ask whether I have covered the kind of situation correctly from a legal perspective, not being a legal professional myself?
Thanks so much, Chair. Morning, Chair, morning, members. Chair, you have covered it correctly, but if I may just explain the rationale behind a new mandate as opposed to an amendment, Chair. It goes, at the heart of it, it goes with the transition from the 6th to the 7th Parliament, because, Chair, I have examined this extensively, and usually when a bill is revived, then the process is revived with the bill. So in this case, the bill lapsed and then it was revived, but the mandate does not necessarily follow that the mandate is revived as well. And I'll give you the rationale behind this, Chair. It's because, following a general election, each provincial legislature receives a new electoral mandate. This means that the people confer authority on newly elected representatives to legislate and represent the current will. So this, in essence, is a representative democracy, Chair, and a system in which elected officials act on behalf of the electorate and not based on instructions or an electoral mandate from a previous term. So, Chair, each newly constituted provincial legislature appoints its delegate to the NCOP, and then only the current legislature is authorized to confer negotiating mandates through the mandating procedures of Provinces Act. And then this act makes it clear two things: that mandates are bill specific and they are time bound. So when a bill lapses, its legal foundation ceases to exist, and with it, any associated mandate lapses with it. So when a bill is revived procedurally, Chair, there's no constitutional provision for reviving prior mandates. As I said, I've conducted extensive research on this point, and while there's no South African case law directly on this issue, my position is supported by sound constitutional principles and statutory interpretation. So relying on mandates, Chair, from a previous parliament would disregard the current electorate's voice and undermine the legitimacy of the revived legislative process. So it follows, Chair, that fresh mandates must be conferred. And this situation draws a distinction, if, for instance, there wasn't a transition between parliaments, the situation would be different altogether, Chair. So those are my submissions. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Ms. Coelho. Colleagues, do we have any queries or questions of clarity? As mentioned, all the documentation has been submitted from our public hearings, so everyone has obviously had a chance to peruse that. Ms. Coelho, I see your hand is up again.
Sorry, Chair, I just wanted to mention that this advice that I've given the committee, I'm going to reduce it to writing and get the endorsement from the legal support unit, and I will make it available during the course of next week. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, and I think we are in support, in principle, obviously, of what you have said. It makes a lot of sense, and that would be, I think, the position of the committee to support that as well. But Member Masipa.
Thank you, Chairperson. Well, just for my own understanding, so in terms of the process that we have followed, are you comfortable that we can proceed, just for clarity? Thank you.
I'm 100% comfortable. Thank you, Member Masipa.
Thank you.
All right, that's fantastic. I don't see any other hands. No. All right. Okay. So in terms of that, then, Mr. Coetzee, I would then say our position as a committee is in line with what Ms. Coelho has mentioned, that we are happy to resubmit the previous negotiating mandate, but as a new negotiating mandate, as explained in more detail by Ms. Coelho. So, what we're not doing is condoning a process just merely continuing from where it was previously in terms of that input, because that is not legally compliant. But we are happy to resubmit that as a new negotiating mandate. Member Stoffel, is that a question of clarity?
Yes, Chair. Chair, since that we are going to work with the previous mandate, then I just want to reaffirm the position of the ANC on that mandate.
Thank you, Member Stoffel. And what was that position, just for clarity for the meeting?
Chair, I believe the mandate as we were going to being presented, the view of the African National Congress is on that. So I believe it was supposed to be sent to each and every one.
Okay, so you're agreeing with the mandate as set out, which included the inputs of the previous. So you will align yourself with what the previous ANC members had said in terms of that. That's what you're saying, huh?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, all right. Mr. Coetzee, just handing back to you. Can you just confirm that we have crossed the T's and dotted the I's, and is there anything else we need to do?
Thank you, Chair. No, this is 100%, Chair. What I'll do is I will now draft because I needed the direction from the Standing Committee on our negotiating mandate. I will draft it, just provide you with the draft if you agree, and also Ms. Coelho, if she's happy with it, then we can submit it to the committee and we can just do the final adoption. We are not pressed for time. We have got time to still deal with it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Coetzee, for that. My apologies if there is a bit of noise in the background. It is the vacuum cleaner. The joys of hosting meetings from home, colleagues. All right, if we can then move on to our final item, and thank you very much, everybody, for the inputs on that. Final item, item 8. And this is the adoption of our draft committee documents. All the documents have been distributed. and I will take those as read. But Mr. Kutsia, I'm not sure if you are in a position to be able to flight those. We have a few sets of minutes, quite a few actually. Are you able to flight those, or can I take them as read, members?
Chairperson, I can flight them.
Okay. Let's do that then, just in case, just to be safe.
Okay. Chairperson, they might now not be in. I'll try and get them as close as possible to the order they are in.
Okay. Members, I just want to check quickly with you. You know, they have been distributed, and I'm assuming they have been read. So we will then. Okay, here we go. We've got them. That's fine. Okay, that'll be easier. So the first are the minutes of the meeting of Tuesday, the 4th of March at 9 o'clock. Can I have a proposer and a seconder for the adoption of those minutes? Member Johnson, I take it you are proposing. Do we have a seconder? Member Masipa.
That's correct, Chair, I propose.
And Member Masipa, to second that. Thank you very much. Those minutes are duly adopted. We'll wait for the next set. All right, these are the minutes of Tuesday, the 18th of March, 2025 at 10:30. It's a virtual meeting. Colleagues, taking those as read. If there aren't any proposed amendments or corrections, can I then have a proposer and a seconder for the adoption of those? Member Constable, proposing. Do we have a seconder? Member Masipa, thank you very much. Those minutes are then duly adopted. We'll move on to the next set. This is Friday, the 28th of March, 2025 at 9 o'clock, also a virtual meeting. Taking those as read without corrections or amendments, unless there are any that need to be proposed. Otherwise, can we please have a proposer and a seconder? Member Masipa, propose. And Member Johnson seconding it. Thank you very much. We can move on then to the next set of minutes. Mr. Kutsia, we haven't got. Yeah, that's it. So this is Monday, the 31st of March, 2025 at 9 o'clock. Also was a virtual meeting. If there are no corrections or amendments, can I then ask for a proposer and a seconder? Member Masipa and Member Constable, thank you very much. I think we've only got 2 more to go. No, we've got a few more to go. We've got about five more to go. All right, the next one is the 23rd of April, 2025 at 6 o'clock, Civic Centre. George, do we have a proposer and a seconder, unless there are any corrections or amendments? Member Johnson is proposing that we adopt. Member Masipa is seconding. Thank you very much, colleagues. We will move on to the next one. This is Tuesday, the 29th of April at 6 o'clock. It's got public participation as well. Do we have a proposer and a seconder for the adoption of these? Member Masipa, seconder. Do we have a seconder? Member Johnson. Thank you very much, Member Johnson. Next set, please. Okay, these are Wednesday, the 30th of April, 2025 at 6 o'clock. This was a hybrid by MS Teams. Do we have a proposer and a seconder, unless there are any corrections or amendments? Member Masipa.
Propose, Chair.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a seconder? Somebody to second the minutes. Member Constable, thank you very much. Member Constable. We have 2 more sets to go. Right, this is Wednesday, the 4th of June. Do we have a proposer and a seconder for the adoption? Member Masipa is proposing. Do we have a seconder? Member Johnson, very good. And then the final set, and also the 4th of June. Or is that it?
There you go, Chair. That's the last one.
Yeah, that's the last one. Okay, great. Okay, this was Wednesday, the 4th of June at 10 o'clock. Do we have a proposer and a seconder? Member Vessels and Member Constable, thank you very much, Member Vessels, for your proposal. If we can then move on, colleagues, I know this is not the most exciting part of the meeting, but it's important for us to do it. Our 3rd and 4th quarterly committee report for adoption. If that can please be flighted. All right. So this again was obviously distributed to everybody. I haven't received any proposed amendments, additions, or corrections. So I am going to ask then that taking it as read, we have a proposer and a seconder. Member Masipa proposing and Member Vessels seconding that. Thank you very much. I just want to check, Mr. Kutsia, the 3rd and 4th, those have been taken together, correct? This is the 4th, yeah.
This is the 4th one, according to Chair.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the 4th. The previous one was the 3rd. Same thing. Member Masipa proposed. Do we have a seconder? Member Vessels, thank you very much, Member Vessels. All right, 2 more items that need to be adopted. The first is the committee's annual activity report.
Yeah, Chairperson, that's basically all the quarterly reports combined into the annual activities of the Standing Committee.
Great. Do we have a proposer and a seconder for that? Member Constable, Member Vessels, and then the final one, correct me if I'm wrong here, Mr. Kutsia, is the committee's tracking report.
Chair, that's correct.
Yep.
And this is the PDF one. Oh, very small.
Very small, but it has been distributed, which means that it is easier to read in that format. And I think you can make it larger if need be, but I'm taking it that colleagues have perused these documents. And do we have a proposer and a seconder then in terms of the tracking document? Member Vessel and a seconder. Member Johnson. Thank you very much, colleagues. That was a marathon round of adopting documents. Finally, if we can then move on, I probably should have, I'm just realizing now, excuse officials who were not needed to be present up until now for that process. Obviously, you are welcome to go. Only committee members now and members of the Secretariat who are assisting. Thank you so much, everybody who has sat around for that. We are now just going to briefly do some other resolutions. So everybody else, the mayors who've stuck around and everyone else is welcome to go and enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, whatever that entails. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chair.
Just a couple of seconds. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Coyle. All right, colleagues, I know that we had quite an extensive discussion and deliberation in terms of the debt relief and support to municipalities and the challenges that many of them are facing. And there were a couple of proposals, one from Member Masipa and some from the others, as to how we take this forward, because obviously, this can't be a once-off oversight meeting where we discuss this, but we don't follow through. So I think there's certainly room for collaboration between us and the Finance Committee in terms of trying to address these issues and keep track of them, because everybody can sit around a table or a virtual meeting and say that they are very committed to resolving the current challenges that exist. But as I think one of the members said in the meeting, in fact, actions speak louder than words. So we need to make sure that those actions are actually taking place, and it's a two-way street in terms of support being offered from Treasury and from the Western Cape government, but also compliance coming through from the other side. So I would like to just open up then for some proposed resolutions as to the way forward. Obviously, one of those would be a follow-up meeting with more specific detail, I think particularly in terms of Kanaland, which seems to be particularly problematic. But over to you, members.
Chair, can I go first?
Yes, sir.
Chair, my basis on the questions with regards to TWK, as you will understand, colleagues, that TWK is one of the best producing deciduous fruit part of our world. And I really do believe that we definitely need to zoom in there to ensure that the stability is maintained there as it's supplied by Eskom. And most of those farmers there, they easily are making a turnover of way over that 40, I think it's 44 million that is in areas of Eskom. And I do think that we definitely need to put our efforts in terms of really getting that municipality work, because if we get Eskom to cut off some of the electricity there, we could be in serious danger. I have got those questions, which I believe, Chair, that maybe we must just get them in writing. And again, I think I agree with you that we need to invite these institutions to really regularly brief us and jointly with the Finance Committee. But I will definitely think that the follow-up questions are important. But I think key for me, Chair, is that we definitely need to get municipalities capacitated in doing their oversight, especially at political level. I know that the minister was answering, but I would have wanted to hear the municipal mayor and his councillors in terms of how are they doing their oversight, because I think key is that we got to get the municipalities and the councillors and the mayors, conducting proper and effective oversight, which I think is a problem. We have witnessed it in Beaufort West, how interchangeably, the councillors tend to really answer, and obviously the officials as well, that there is no clear separation between the two areas, politics and and obviously the administration. Thanks, Chair, but I will send these questions to Johan for to add in terms of the answering this question from the municipality, so that we can get their oversight role, back again. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Member Constable.
Thank you very much, Chair. I would like us to put on the resolutions the question or the comment that I made to the MEC, and she responded very well, because she said it's about the viability of municipalities, long-term sustainability, because the FRP thing is, for me, it's not really working. It is working by giving support to municipalities, but long-term, what are municipalities doing? I'm still of the view that we are giving money to SEZs in Atlantis, and so we're spending more money, and we're neglecting the rural municipalities such as your Central, Beaufort West municipalities, who are doing good. Beaufort West is doing very well with regards to the FRP, and the report is showing it. But what are we actually doing? So for me, as much as we assisting TWK, also please let us also assist the Beaufort West municipality in getting economic development growing into that, and get that conversation, this department to lead that conversation. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks very much. Member Stoffel.
Right, thank you, Chair. Am I audible, Chair?
Yes, you are.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Chairperson, I think mine is two. I want to sponsor two resolutions that is saying, now that we have a kind of a inside of these municipalities, and I think what will be proper or progressive from us is to get a continuous feedback in terms of the progress, which means we have this month, maybe on a monthly basis, or maybe depend what the committee is saying, but especially on these specific municipalities that was being mentioned. And then the second one, I want to once again agree with the point that was, or the view from Member Murray, to say, especially in Canaland, there should be a detailed, because remember, these people, this municipality was on 88%. And a person just wonder, how did they manage to get 88% that time, and they can't manage now? So you have to go and look into what have worked for them on that time and what doesn't work for them now, and how best can we assist in order for that have worked before can work again for them in favor of them now. So to me, that one is very important in order for us to take these municipalities forward, as much as Dierwaterskloof and Abo Beaufort West, Abo Lensberg, and those people. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Member Stoffel. Mr. Kutsia, have you captured the essence of those resolutions, would you say?
Chairperson, excuse, I did. Would the committee agree if I do word it so that maybe the next follow-up meeting would be then with, say, Provincial Treasury, local government department, as well as the municipality, at the municipality on, say, then a quarterly basis, because we've got some constituency periods coming up now, so a monthly will not work. So if we do the next quarterly in, say, 2 or 3 months' time from now, but that we then try and do it at the municipality itself.
No, I think that's a fantastic. Originally that was our original request. Obviously, it's not possible to do the physical oversight with the way things have gone with the budget and all of that. But I agree with you. I think that is correct. All right. So, colleagues, that is then the proposal. And I just want to hang on with Member Murray. So I think what we will do as well is, Mr. Kutsia, then once you've worded that, you can then just sort of distribute that to members just to make sure that everybody's on the same page in terms of that resolution. Member Murray?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had difficulty raising my hand electronically.
No problem. No
but
problem.
I have been covered by Member Stoffel who put Kana land as a priority. Just wanted to add that I think a comprehensive plan needs to be presented to the committee. As Kana land has been under financial strain since 2017, and unless there is, and I believe one of our previous members, it could be Member Constable, that this will require a much broader approach to bring a municipality to the phase of sustainability. It's not just internal controls that needs to be strengthened, but it's also need to look at a more comprehensive plan in terms of the economy within the jurisdiction of that municipality, and also a comprehensive plan that needs to be presented to this committee to bring a municipality full circle out of the situation. It's been many years Kanaland has been in the situation with no proof of any success, and somewhere we're still missing something. Thank you, sir.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much. All right, colleagues. Well, I think with that and the assurance from Mr. Kutsia that he will draft that and word it correctly and send it through. Is there anything else, Mr. Kutsia, that I have missed on today's agenda?
Chairperson, no, we're all good.
Fantastic. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. And thank you, colleagues. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. And we'll see you very, very soon, I'm sure. Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, members.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Chair.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Thanks, Nomsi.
Champion.
Okay, you stopped the recording and the stuff. Yeah. No, thank you very much.
I did. Sure.
So it went all right. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So now I've got work to do. I'm on.
Yes.
I'm on leave tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I saw your message.
Yeah.
Did Mario phone you? He was here in the morning asking whether you're here. I said no, you're not here.
Oh, this morning.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, no, he didn't phone me. It was most probably about the status of legislation, So okay, so we all good, yeah. All right, so these two NCOP bills are sort of done-ish, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Champion.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
I will. I'm in the office today.
Is
I
it?
know.
Yes.
Bummer.
But it's only
And
the
it's
one day, eh? Then you're done. Now you're
yes, I am done today.
done. Okay. Well, enjoy.
All right.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.